This is the HK45 Tactical. What's going on, everybody? This is Steve with the Mr. Big Kid channel. So I'm taking this video down off of my channel and I'm giving it to Matt. So you might have seen it before on my channel. I posted it several months ago, but I'm hoping that this is a good video for him to earn some revenue and some income to help support him and his family. So this is a pretty crazy time right now. So anyways, I hope you all enjoy it. Take care. Steve with the Mr. Big Kid channel. Thank you all so much for watching and thank you all for tuning in. Today we're going over this guy. This is the H&K HK45 Tactical. This model in particular has a threaded barrel. So yes, the thread protector is not on the barrel right now because we're playing with suppressors. What comes with this is the tall suppressor sights, suppressor high sights. The rear sight is a black serrated sight with two little night sight dots right inside there, tritium. We have a tall front sight post, and this one has a day-night sight. So you have a little fiber optic, and you have the tritium night sights as well. This model does come with a Picatinny rail on the bottom. You do have ambidextrous slide stop, slide release. Then the back right here, you actually have a decocker. So this is a safety decocker. Basically, right here you can decock it, or you can bump it up to safe. Also, when it's cocked, you can just bump it up to safe if you want to fire in that condition, kind of like a single action 1911, or if you want, you can drop the hammer and then you'll have a double action trigger pull at that point. So let's do a little bit of shooting. So we have good lock back. My grouping isn't perfect, but I mean, they're all decent shots. There we go. So all 10 shots are at least within the big circle. I am okay with that. Let's do another magazine. Did a video on the HK45 like 2 years ago. My buddy brought it out and I did a quick 4-minute review. But I'll tell you what, there's something about this platform that is extremely shootable. I don't know if that's the right term. I think it is shootable. But I'll tell you what, it's a 45, so it's a heavy round. It's a big, fat, slow-moving bullet. It's not snappy though. It's not snappy whatsoever. Having that decocker is actually really cool too. So let's do a couple, and next magazine, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna load it up, chamber it, decock it, then we'll do the first shot, double action, and just see how that feels too. Double action, trigger pull. Kind of makes me wanna pull down, but I'm not really used to the double action. Let's decock it and try again. Decock it, decock it. So far so good. I do like the double action on this. Feels pretty good. So this is the safety and decocker right here. So it's empty right now, so it's okay I'm doing this. So obviously right now the hammer is pulled back, so you could pull this up, push that with your thumb, but I'm kind of at a weird angle with the camera. You can push it up, then it blocks the trigger, and then it won't fire, but the hammer's back. So all you do is drop this, one step, and then you're good to go, single action. Or you could take this, just push down on it, then it decocks it, blocks the trigger, then your first trigger pull is gonna be a longer double action trigger pull. So not too bad, but it's cool, it has options. Put one inside the chamber, then I decock it, and then I just kind of like that condition. The nice thing about that is that means the trigger is an intentional trigger pull, not an accidental one. All right, let's do some more shooting. So now let's do a 10-round mag dump. Obviously, these mags only hold 10 rounds, so 10-round mag dump with a 45, and I don't know, I'm just gonna aim at the square, the entire target. I'm gonna try to make it a controlled mag dump. All right, here we go.
Okay, I'm hitting low.
All right. Oh yeah.
It's not much different without the... Come over this way.
Can't even see through my glasses, they're all fogged up. There we go.
The clear ones?
No, I'm good. Oh man.
I think it's wild.
It's cool. I mean, this suppressor was made for a 45 too. I've been using it on a 9 the entire time. Before we start talking about the negatives and the drawbacks of the HK45, I want to give a huge shout out to Ted's Shooting Range in Queen Creek, Arizona. Those guys are amazing, super awesome hospitality. They closed the range down for us to film, at least one of the bays down for us to film, manned by such great people. They have a huge selection, their shooting range is nice, and just really good people. So if you're in the Arizona area, and especially in the East Valley, go check Ted's Shooting Range out. Tell them Steve with Mr. Big Kid sent you. I don't think they'll give you a discount or anything, but maybe they'll give you a high five or something like that. Anyways, thank you Ted's, appreciate it. Let's talk about the negatives on the HK45. I'm gonna say overall, I really like this handgun. I think it's a good shooter. It fires a big, large round, and it does an amazing job at handling that recoil impulse. It's really not that bad. You can really put shots on target easily, and it just overall has a really great feel to it. Now, however, there are a couple negatives that I'm not a huge fan of. Show you guys that it is cleared, decocked, all that. Okay, so first thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the trigger. Now, it's smooth. I'm not gonna say it's a rough, gritty trigger, but again, let's look at the double action pull that I showed you guys before. Very smooth, you don't feel any grinding, not bad. So the double action trigger on this firearm's actually not that bad. Now, when you're in single action pull, you get the sponginess of a trigger that I don't really like. And there's another issue with the trigger I'll explain in a second. So right here, here's your take up right here on the trigger. And then right down here, there's like a little sponginess before the break. So here's the reset. So it's all the way back. Reset is about there. And then you have a little bit of take up after the reset, and then a little tiny bit of sponginess. I don't know if you can see that play. That's all resistance, and then it breaks. So it's not that crispy, clean trigger break that I love. Now that being said, it's functional. Again, reset right here, take up, sponginess, break. So again, it's not the worst. I got this little trigger pull wheeler gauge right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it back onto single action. I'm gonna put you guys over here, and then let's zero it. There we go. All right, put you guys here. You can see that. Straight back. So 4 pound, 5 ounce trigger pull. Let's do another one. Single action again, of course. All right, coming down to you. Straight back. 4 pound, 7.9 ounces. Straight back. 4 pound, 4 ounces. So around 4.5, almost 5 pound trigger pull, which isn't horrible. It's a tactical firearm. It's not a competition firearm. So you can see the trigger right here. As you pull the trigger in, you can almost kind of see how the trigger looks like it's making contact with the trigger guard. Well, the bottom of the trigger guard actually has a cutout, and that's where the trigger goes. The problem is, when your finger is on that trigger, you start making contact with that trigger guard as well. So it's kind of like the trigger guard itself is almost kind of fighting you. And with this really heavily curved trigger, it's not like you can keep the trigger up high. No, your finger is gonna rest in one spot. So what's happening is your finger ends up getting a little bit of resistance on that trigger guard. Again, not a huge deal, but I don't necessarily like having resistance on a trigger guard as well. Ambidextrous controls are just fine. I actually find myself, when I'm releasing the slide, using my index finger and my thumb really helps bring that slide home quickly. So the decocker seems to work really well. I did not like it when I first got it, but the more I use it, the more I actually really like it. It's nice to have the option of keeping it single action and then having it on safe. And then how I prefer to keep it is double action decocked safety off, because the safety is something that I forget about that drives me insane, especially because it's not like it completely locks your trigger. No, it lets you pretty much pull your trigger all the way back. It just won't break. It's just like, that's where the trigger block is right there. Aside from that, it handles the suppressor perfectly. So in this gun right now, I think I fired about 200 rounds with it since I bought it a couple days ago. And it's been absolutely 100% reliable. It has an amazing feel. I love the feel of a full-size gun. There's just something cool about that. And then again, the suppressor is awesome. Really, this is the rugged Obsidian 45 suppressor. I've had this thing for like a year and a half, almost 2 years now, and I put this suppressor on everything. All right, last complaint for you guys before we're done talking about the negatives. It's not really the gun's fault, but this threading, if you guys are looking to do some kind of muzzle device on it, is actually a left-handed thread. I think it's 16 by 1 millimeter left hand. So that means for my suppressor, instead of the standard 45 size, like these like 0.568, whatever the size is, it doesn't fit on this. So I had to buy a new piston. I had to buy a new piston for my suppressor. And that piston was a specific left-hand thread, basically meant to mount to the USP or the HK45 barrel. Good news is though, even though the rugged pistons were pretty much sold out, turns out the Silencer Co pistons work just fine as well. So you can use a Silencer Co piston on the rugged Obsidian 45 and that'll work. Anyways, that's it. So overall, super happy with the gun. I think it's cool. I think it's impressive. The size is impressive. The feeling's impressive. There are a couple negative drawbacks, like I said, about the kind of weird tight tapered trigger guard right here, and then the not crispy single action trigger pull. The double action feels fine. Even the single action when you're firing live rounds doesn't feel too bad. Dry firing it is where you really feel the nuances of things you might not like. I just really grew accustomed to custom triggers and like a really crispy, clean break trigger. And then the full-size Picatinny rail is nice. The old USPs have a proprietary H&K rail on the bottom, so you have to buy adapters and stuff, and not this guy. Nope, you got a regular full-size rail. I don't know if this one can accept an optics cut. I would really like to think about putting some kind of red dot on this thing, so I'll do some research and see if this specific HK45 can actually get cut for an RMR or something like that. Other than that, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all so much. I'll talk to you guys later.